Hi everyone, it's Tracey here from Art Fibre Stitch. Last time we were going through my mum's bin and finding some delicious little scraps, and we made a project from it. I'm wanting to make another project. I have all of these blues and greens here, very thin strips. Look at that, that's on silk. Maybe I can use that too. That sea foam kind of marking on it is done with salt. When you dye it, you can sprinkle it with salt and it just creates these delicious little patterns. So these kind of colours I'm dragging out now, and I'll use them, I think, to make something beachy. I also found in the bin these threads. They're just discarded bits of knotted thread or the ends of different threads or yarns, but they're the right colour. So I've grabbed them out too. And I'm getting some ideas as I'm playing with it. I think they could work well as the tops of waves, that lovely frothiness. I love this green. And I have this little bit left over from the last project. Look at how lovely they go against each other. You know, I think one works into that colour, and so that's really useful. I look for things like that. This one's a silk. It has those lovely colours in it, but much paler. Now I also found a blue. I don't see why I couldn't use that. I'm just looking, what about if I have strips joined together? Can I get something out of that? Don't really like that brownie one. I don't think I'm going to use that. But, you know, the teal's good. I could use that. So I just keep playing with this and I keep finding bits and pieces and I think, will this work? You know, and at the same time I'm thinking, how can I make it work? But I like those colours. I'm thinking those are all good. I like that. But I'd kind of like to see something sandy down the bottom. So I'm looking at different beigey kind of ones that were also in there. I don't want to cheat and grab something new. I just want to use bits that I find in the bin and make it work. Some bits are nicely cut, some bits aren't. That's a purple and yellow. I don't think that would work. Sandy colours, beige or cream. This one's very golden, but we could use it. I'm looking for light and dark. I might look for something more beige too, to sort of break that up a bit, that yellowy colour. Those work well. And this bit here, see how it's thicker on one end and it just goes down to a shallow peak at the other. I think something like that. I know you're thinking, how on earth am I going to put something together from this? But I'm getting some ideas. I really am. But I do like these bits of silk. I do want to add that in. I'm discarding some now. I'm sort of thinking I don't want any browny ones, no reddish ones. I like those tealy green blues. There's that lovely bit of thread or yarn or, well, we're virtually making our own yarn from discarded threads. So I'm just looking at a selection here of sandy ones. Let's start there. We've already chosen some nice ones for the sea. Now this one there is, it's got a sparkle in it, just like sand does. You know, the mica in a sand when the sun hits it and it sparkles. That one's more goldy. And that one's more beigey. And I think, you know, when they're all together, it makes a decent kind of layered sand effect. So I'm thinking of overlaying one on top of the other, letting only bits of the other one show through. Can you see what I'm doing there? Sort of like that. And then I'm going to add in the greeny bits and get some ones that are on top, some ones that are underneath. I know this seems a little bit strange, but this, I have method to my madness. I like that. And as I layer them up, I'm working on colours. Can you see I'm going from the darkest, and then I go through to that lovely green, and then some turquoise. But they really stand out, don't they? They really do stand out against the sand. So this is where those silk bits come in. You see, they're sort of in between, aren't they? They can help it blend. And that's what I'm doing, blending colours from a deep purpley teal through to a very pale sand colour. What I'm doing now, and this was the idea, is I've decided to use my mother's sewing machine, and I'm just stitching, see, with this silky one, I'm just pulling it into ripples almost. But the main thing is that I'm just stitching one on top of the other, and I am making wavy lines, not straight. And so I can just turn it here like that, and I go up and down and around. And I'm not going to be too fussy about it. I know it looks a bit messy. When I get to the end, I can just leave the needle in, I turn the fabric, and I go back. And this is what I end up with. Let's see what it looks like if we give it a bit of an iron, I think. I think this is going to be a great way to use up all of those long, thin scraps, upcycle them into a background. So that's what we've got, and that's going to be my background fabric. The idea is what I'm going to experiment with next is cutting back some of those layers to expose the colours underneath. See here, I'm giving you a sneak peek of the sand and the water behind, and that's the idea. That's what I'm going to try and do. And we'll also do some stitching. We'll get that yarn out and add it. I think we've got a really a great start to our project, and I'm going to finish it in the next episode. So I hope you've enjoyed watching, and thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can leave a donation if you would like. Thanks again.